So I want to share some stuff from John Bradshaw and then some contemplations I had. So first of all, he talks about family is a hierarchy, not a democracy. There is a dictatorship, and in this is all within the wounded inner child. When the family is not a hierarchy, not a democracy, and there's a dictatorship. Abuse is the loss of knowledge of oneself and the world, and oppression of anger, sexuality. And I realized I had to idealize them. They're good and I'm bad. And this becomes so automatic, powerful, and chronic that we can forget for decades the memories the inner child torments us. And really contaminates our life. And I think I mentioned this from John Bradshaw. Yeah, you can find him on YouTube. That trauma in infancy is like ingestive addiction, mistrust of people, needed control, deep fear of abandonment, continuing to be admired. In toddler years, it's trouble knowing what our wants are, fear of trying new experiences, fear of anger, avoiding saying no directly. In preschool years, it's trouble identifying our feelings, acting on guesses and unchecked emotions, responsible for others' happiness, difficulty expressing feelings. At school age, it's feeling uncomfortable in social situations, excessive competition, giving in or having things my way, having intense fear of making a mistake. And the child has dependency needs. We can't get them met on my own. We need a parent. So in early life, there's the private self is the public self. However, sometimes the public self keeps growing while the private self stays underdeveloped, and it remembers and it acts it out or acts it in. Then we have here a contamination. It was mentioned before, right? That we can be contaminated by by what do we call it? The wounded inner child. Yeah. So codependency, we can't generate happiness from the inside, outside source, whether it's love or money. Otheration, it's like being on guard. It's a disease of the developing self. Parenting from the inner child to meet its needs. An adult, or AKA being who I wished my parent was, is still not healthy. It's traumatized. It's not giving what the kids need. 180 degrees from wrong is still wrong. Too little structure given because too much structure before. Abusers act out what was done to them. Inner child of the adult is the one who incests and beats. The scenes get reenacted as a victim or offender role, screaming at a tiny nervous system, a delicate little developing human being. Every baby needs a face that loves it unconditionally. Healing includes reconnecting with a face to let go of that toxic shame. It's important to be in groups knowing that every part of us was okay because it was reflected in that face. Just one person who loved us, right? Parts not loved unconditionally split off. Being loved wholly for the very one I am, or spending life seeking admiration and positive regard even from the own children. Trust issues, controlling gullibility, spending money on stuff to fix me. Acting out is acting in, really. It's engulfing others because having been engulfed. And if my mother engulfed me, finding someone with the same and quality, positive and negative qualities, hoping that, I can have a relationship this time without being engulfed. And so if I had a father who was abstract emotionally or physically, then keep looking for a daddy, a person, a church, political party. When he said church, I was thinking synagogue, like shul for Jewish people. A guru or like a master, a rabbi. Little child making the choices, a holistic thing. The child is trying to complete. It's needy, it's incomplete, insatiable, compulsive addiction to excitement, adrenaline rush, just newness and happiness. And then there's a hurting, a self-harm, sadomasochistic, violating, violence, being demeaned or demeaning, internalizing repressed sexual rage from the parents, magical thinking, saying I'll try, waiting around for someone to rescue me, hoping for someone, the right man, Prince Charming, to meet me where my issues are, if I could just get married, addiction, pills, overeating, numbing sadness and anger, and finally relationships, feeling, it's not finally, there's more, finding the vibes of others with similar patterns of what we grew up with, dysfunction, reconnect through resonating in the trauma bonds. This person speaks my language, right? Then we have, there's a little more. It's like, it meets us at our map of woundedness. And that's a love addiction. It's the primal bonding, gazing, oceanic sex, going back into the Big Bang, beginning of time, but actually experiencing a parent and treating like a hostage who's never good enough, satisfying enough, fulfilling enough. almost like we're sacrificing our happiness to be inside a relationship. Obviously, we want to be in a relationship. We can't live without love and having someone to matter to, but this is when it gets taken to addiction. So discipline issues, whether it's OCD or kinesthetic, lived in kind of, and then addiction trained by abuse. Actually, genetics say what kind maybe, but a child versus someone 5 times the size, or 17-foot, 9-inch, 800-pound giant is what the parent looks like. If let's say we had someone who was compared to us the way that 5 times our size, it would be a 17-foot, 19-inch, 800-pound giant. Power, control, numbing of emotions. You can see it's addiction when it's abuse. Fear, can't express feelings, secrecy, distance. Workaholics is mood alteration through activity, sexual ritual, gambling, kind of buying stuff, mood altering feelings like rage instead of fear, addiction to worry or false positivity, grinning away while even talking about death. Sorry. Yeah, all or nothing thinking, absolutism, biased vulnerability, hearing everything as a testament to my shamefulness and inadequacy, exaggerating and emptiness and spiritual bankruptcy, object of contempt to myself, thirsting for something I can't get enough, sex, food, alcohol, hungering inner child, toxic shame, insatiable. Choosing my own lifestyle is expanding, finding bliss, doing what we want with our own life. That's the journey of finding the child who lives within me while being the adult. So all of these things that was mentioned can lead us to love, spontaneity, tenderness, believing in and trusting life, being unafraid to adventure and explore. If she, the inner she, the young wounded inner child feels, knows she's safe, magical, non-logical kind of living in a world of felt thought, hypnotic and trance goal empowerment while still including that resilient, courageous inner child. And championing the inner child is clearly going from this woundedness to this wonder. And then I had some contemplations, which make sense, like connecting with my inner child. Death is starting all over again. Am I ready, possessed, becoming interwoven or merged? This is my inner child talking. Can go into the vortex as if I have what I want. Faith will be tested, wholly apart and partly a whole. That's what John Bradshaw talked about in the video. Wholly apart and partly a whole. I saw a butterfly on the mushroom trip that changed my life many years ago as me with 3 weeks to live, where I'm also my grandmother. And I believe every moment is possible to be experiencing, feeling connected to the source. And reality doesn't exist without perception. Nothing exists unless it's being observed by the observer. And then I was thinking about for myself, like weed was helping me emotionally and spiritually, but not mentally or physically. So was like trying to get me to connect with that wounded inner child, but it was blocking me physically and mentally. And I will stop here and wish you a blessed evening. Thank you for spending this time with me. Hope that you appreciated the information. Bye.